those and freeholders was provided in the following manner. Published in the Press of Atlantic City, mailed to the Current, the Daily Journal, Hamilton Gazette News, and there are postings on the bulletin board in Atlantic County office buildings in Atlantic City here at Stillwater County Clerk's Office. We'll remain seated for an opening prayer. Lead us, O God. We may be leaders of our community and continue to guide us in the decisions we make for the service of others. Amen. You all remain seated and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Welcome to our virtual meeting. We will have the roll call, please.
Bennett? Here. Bertino?
Here.
Horsey?
Present.
Days? He's having technical problem. He can hear us and I can see that he's on. So Chairman Formica, I'm going to mark Freeholder Days present.
Just give him a hand signal. 1 for yes, 2 for no.
Okay. Fitzpatrick?
Here.
Gatto?
Here.
Hearn?
Here.
Risley?
Here.
And Formica.
Here. Okay, freeholders, we've all been provided with our minutes of March the 24th. We were all present and we had a chance to review them. Are there any comments, corrections, or additions at this point? If not, I will take a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. We'll call the roll.
Bennett?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Horsey? Days? Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Hearn?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Formica.
Yes. Okay. Our first order of business today is going to come in the form of a report on the COVID-19 update. And we have our health department director, Patricia Diamond. And we can't see her, unfortunately, but we can hear her. And if you would, Patricia, give us a little update here.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is healthy, and what I can see, everybody looks pretty well. An update is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Very good.
Okay, good. We have now close to 1,200 cases of COVID-19 in Atlantic County, and with that, 51 deaths. We have been seeing an increase over the past few weeks, which was not unexpected, given the fact that this is how the disease does progress, and also to the fact that we
You dropped out there, Patty. Hello?
I don't know why her sound went out.
Okay. Where is she located?
She's upstairs. Let me,
You want me to call Sonia?
yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, should we get the second update on the agenda while we're waiting for Pat to get back online?
Yeah, just let's see what Jerry comes up with and,
Patty's having some voice difficulties. She's going to go get Santiago to see if he can fix it for her.
all right, well, I think we'll move to the second part of the, as suggested by Freeholder Gata. We'll move to our second presentation. At our last meeting, we thought we were going to have an update on opportunities for businesses that have made the first application for assistance in this area by Nick Tavacchia, who has been doing some fine work with Cooper Levinson. They could not make it. We reached out to Triad Associates. Some of you know Triad Associates. They are a grant writing organization that has been around for about 50 years. And we have representatives here today to give us an update on what is available and how businesses can be helped by applications. Do I have it? So
Yes.
So
Thank you,
whoever wants
Chairman.
to start, Carolyn, and we have Carolyn Zampino. I'm sorry. So
No problem. Thank you, Chairman. And I just want to thank you and the board for the opportunity to share what we've created, the Triad Associates web series, helping your business and community meet the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. It should be on the screen. You'll be able to see a PowerPoint, but my name is Carolyn Zampino. I'm the president of Triad Associates, and today I'm joined by Melissa Walsh, our CDBG specialist, and Jake Botticello. He's my COVID response coordinator.
hey, you're on the screen.
What's that?
You're on the screen.
Great. By developing a toolkit of essential resources, Triad Associates has remained at the forefront of helping businesses and communities navigate the challenges of responding to COVID-19. We're working with businesses and communities to assist them by preparing a strategy that will address current needs and support future revitalization and growth efforts. We're able to provide recommendations on which program is the best fit for small businesses or a community, assist in preparation and submission of application packages, and then providing the post-approval technical assistance that's going to be needed. Additionally, we've been working with communities to identify a way to leverage their CDBG dollars with other funding. So today, we'll be reviewing programs for small businesses, including those being offered by HUD, FEMA, the U.S. Small Business Administration, and other federal and state funding programs. At the end of the presentation, we will be taking your questions, which it's going to last approximately 15 minutes. And you'll see at the bottom of the screen, there is a section where you can enter questions. Additionally, if we can't get to all the questions in the time permitted, you can submit an email to us at covidhelp@triadincorporated.com. Now, a lot of people have been asking, is there funding beyond the CDBG COVID funding? And the simple answer is yes. But keeping pace with the COVID response funding is proving to be incredibly time-consuming and confusing. So today, we're going to be able to provide an overview of the COVID-19 funding beyond CDBG. We'll discuss with you community development strategies for leveraging various types of COVID funding. And then we can start a dialogue of what the Triad CDBG team and the Triad COVID grants team can do to assist with any community strategies moving forward. CDBG dollars can only stretch so far, that's a known. So communities will need to utilize and strategize best ways and the best use for each of the stimulus programs to support community needs. Some of the programs available to leverage these dollars, one is the U.S. Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance funding. This funding, for now, it's an allocation that's providing eligible states, local units of government with funding to provide for equipment, some law enforcement and medical personal protective equipment, hiring, supplies, and some ways to address medical needs of inmates in state and local prisons. There's also the Assistance to Firefighters Grant. This is an extra round of funding that opened on April 29th, and it is closing on May 15th. But they've announced an additional allocation of $100 million in AFG funds This is available for fire departments and non-affiliated EMS organizations to purchase urgently needed PPE. So some examples are eye protection, isolation gowns, gloves, footwear covers, and surgical type face masks. Only 1,000 awards would be made nationwide, so having a competitive application for this funding will be critical. I mentioned the CDBG dollars, so today Melissa Walsh is going to share with you some of the highlights of the supplemental funding that's been made available.
Thank you, Carolyn. Good evening, everyone. The Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act, was signed into law on March 27th. This legislation provides additional funding to communities through CDBG, Community Development Block Grant, ESG, Emergency Solutions Grant, and HOPWA, Housing Opportunities for People with AIDS, to address COVID-19. The federal government released the first $2 billion of the total $5 billion allocation through HUD's existing funding formula. Altogether, New Jersey CDBG entitlements received just under $54 million. Atlantic County received just under $700,000. There is an additional $1 billion allocation to be announced by May 11th. This allocation will go to states and insular areas and can be then used in both entitlement and non-entitlement communities. Lastly, HUD is creating a new formula based on COVID-19 related needs that will guide an additional $2 billion in funding to be allocated on a rolling basis. The COVID-19 funding formula is said to take into consideration factors such as public health needs, risk of transmission of coronavirus, the number of coronavirus cases compared to the national average, and economic and housing market disruptions. So at this point, we know Atlantic County has just over $700,000 that has come to you all in CDBG CARES funds. There could be more coming to the county as well. In planning for the use of these funds, one thing that HUD has emphasized repeatedly is that all efforts must be coordinated with public health officials. So HUD has prioritized expediting the ability of the CARES Act funds to get into the hands of communities. They have made expenses for eligible activities incurred after the CARES Act was signed to be able to be reimbursed. And they've also recommended that CARES Act funds be received by grantees through a process of issuing a 2019 substantial amendment with waivers for a reduction in the required public participation process, which will shorten the length of time it takes to process getting the money on the ground. An important point that continues to be emphasized is the need for grantees to be able to prove that there is no duplication of benefits. It's important that as communities are looking at multiple funding sources, there are clear and documented lines delineating how those funds are spent. HUD hasn't released any specific guidance on the documentation requirements yet, but we do expect it to come out in the next few weeks. Lastly, activities using CDBG CARES money must be eligible under the regular CDBG rules, which means meeting a national objective, and they must also be undertaken to prevent or respond to the virus. This also means that grantees must still meet the 70% low mod income requirement for their activities. We don't have any expectation that HUD will waive this requirement, as they are recognizing that in many parts of the country, low income individuals and families and people of color are impacted at higher rates. Atlantic County also receives in their regular annual allocation home dollars. And there were not any additional dollars that were released for the home program. However, there were significant waivers that were released that allow for increased flexibility when PJs or participating jurisdictions are using their existing home dollars. So these waivers are available for fiscal year 19 and fiscal year 20 funds for grantees that are in a disaster area. And highlights include waiving the 10% planning and admin cap. With the waiver, PJs can spend up to 25% in planning and admin. Relief of the CHODO set-aside requirement, which is normally 15%. And CHODO stands for Community Housing Development Organization. So typically 15% of your home funds have to go towards a CHODO, a Community Housing Development Organization, that has been relieved with the CARES Act. They have waived timelines for annual inspections, project completion requirements, sale deadlines, and more. There's also significant waivers for tenant-based rental assistance, also known as TBRA, and that includes the provision of up to 100% of subsidy for rent, security deposit payments, utility bills paid by tenants affected by a reduction or loss of income from the COVID-19 pandemic, and also the reductions in requirements for income documentation. Part of our role is with the county as we work with John Lamey and Bob McGuigan, and they are looking at all of these as potential ways to move forward with utilizing existing home dollars. One important note to remember is that with the CARES Act, there was a moratorium that was authorized on federal foreclosures and evictions, which helps to support housing stability as well, in addition to anything that can be implemented through the home program. So lastly, we thought it would be helpful to review some examples of what local communities in New Jersey and Eastern Pennsylvania are considering, which you can see here listed on the slide. Some of these are ideas that we have worked with Atlantic County on. We've spent a fair amount of time vetting eligibility for different activities. In terms of looking at activity eligibility, standard CDBG eligible activities remain eligible for CARES funds as long as they are COVID-19 related. This can include infrastructure projects, economic development grants and loans, housing rehabilitation, emergency assistance paid to an individual's landlord or utility for up to 3 months, and subgrants to nonprofits for public services, which could be a range of services. It could be daycare, elder services, education, food pantries, soup kitchens, and more. HUD has also issued guidance on additional eligible activities that prevent and respond to the spread of infectious diseases such as coronavirus. And those include building improvements, including public facilities, assistance to businesses, including special economic development assistance. Many folks are interested in that. When it comes to public services, the CARES Act has effectively removed the public services cap, which is typically 15%. For CDBG CARES grants in fiscal year 19 and 20, if funds are used for COVID-19 efforts, there is no cap. Lastly, planning, capacity building, and technical assistance related funds are also still allowable under the CARES Act, and they are subject to the standard 20% cap on admin funds. So that's an overview of CDBG. And I will now turn the presentation over to Jake Botticello, who is Triad's COVID Response Coordinator.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us tonight. Just a couple of words about some of the FEMA programs out there and some of the SBA, the small business programs that are out there currently. FEMA has a program called the Public Assistance Grant Program. As New Jersey's been declared as a disaster area, FEMA's authorized to reimburse local and county governments for certain emergency spending. These reimbursements cover up to 75% of funds spent on eligible activities. And you can see a list of eligible activities there on your screen. The most often addressed of these are the ones associated with the costs of staff overtime, security measures, and additional communications of general health and safety to the general public. Some of the more substantial, and I believe Atlantic County has been participating in this, has been some of the management activities, including setting up testing sites or temporary patient facilities, and that's all included in this. If your municipalities ask, all public entities that are interested in participating in the public assistance grant program have to file a request for public assistance to participate in this program. Triad has assisted a number of municipalities with doing this and are happy to help with both the application and the reporting of expenditures for this public assistance grant program. The other more recently released FEMA program out there for public entities is the Emergency Management Performance Grant COVID Supplemental, otherwise known as the EMPGS. This program is being administered through the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management, and the funding is for preventing and preparing for disasters like COVID-19 and also responding to the COVID-19 disaster. The list of program priorities is listed on this slide. However, the funding is meant to address a broader spectrum of activities related to the COVID response. So this will be more eligible. There'll be more eligible projects rather for this program than there are currently for the Public Assistance Grant Program. Funding under this program covers 50% of the expenditures. And again, Triad has been working with a number of municipalities on projects for this program. We're happy to help where we can. And the big thing about this funding is that it can also be used, as it says on the screen, to assist emergency managers with implementing community lifelines to prevent and prepare for the COVID-19 public health emergency and some of this stuff that's still coming and communities are still having to deal with. Moving on to the Small Business Administration loan programs, there's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, or the EIDL, and the Paycheck Protection Program, or the PPP. The EIDL program is available as a response to economic injury for small businesses. This funding is intended to provide businesses funds for general operations to keep their companies going during this time of reduced revenue and other business activity. The loans do have a maximum amount of $2 million and are for businesses of 500 or less. Interest rate on these loans is 3.75% for businesses, 2.75% for nonprofits, and there's a 12-month deferral period at the beginning of these loans. The loan application does also include a request for a grant of up to $10,000 in emergency funding. As we've seen with a number of our clients already, the decision for the loan itself can take 3 to 4 weeks. However, the decision for this emergency grant is typically taking less than a week and then less than another week to get funded. So it's a great source of kind of immediate funding for businesses that need it. This loan program was oversubscribed and received a $60 billion allocation in the second funding round of the CARES Act. When that happened, they were able to catch up on some of the applications that were oversubscribed. And just yesterday, they reopened applications for agricultural businesses only for this program. So if there are agricultural businesses that are looking for this disaster relief loan, they can apply currently. Triad Associates has been assisting numerous small and medium businesses with applying for both this loan program and the Paycheck Protection Program. There's quite a bit that needs to be done on the back end of this. So, you know, if there is anybody out there that requires assistance, we're happy to help. And then I did just mention the Paycheck Protection Program. This program was created specifically to help employers with payroll and other funding needs. It's designed specifically to keep employees on payroll instead of furloughing them or laying them off or terminating them. The maximum loan amount for these paycheck protection loans is 2.5 times your average monthly payroll from calendar year 2019. Or if there's a seasonal business, there's a different calculation to figure out the maximum loan amount. It looks at a smaller period of time, and it's more representative of a seasonal business's payroll. There's no personal guarantee or collateral required for these loans. And if 75% of the funding from these loans are spent on payroll in an 8-week period, and staffing levels are maintained at pre-disaster levels, the SBA is forgiving the full amount of these loans. Right now, there is a second funding round that has happened with these loans, and the SBA has reopened their funding portal. And right now, applications are being accepted. So where small businesses may have been closed out of this program the first time around with the funding, it has reopened and they are currently accepting applications. With that second round, they also added some stipulations to try to keep some of the bigger businesses out, some of the folks that maybe could afford to pay their payroll out of the program, and focus a little bit more on community banks and the smaller businesses that they service. And again, we're happy to assist wherever we can with applications and implementation for any of these loan programs.
Thank you, Jake, and thank you, Melissa. Certainly very helpful information. As Jake indicated, we are continuing to monitor all programs as they develop and opportunities as they're being released, and we'll continue to share that with you and update you. There are some expected releases of funding as it relates to USDA and the Department of Commerce, as well as Health and Human Services and other agencies. So we'll remain available to answer any questions on how you can continue to leverage your funding as we respond to this pandemic. We really appreciate all of your time, recognizing that you have very full agendas, especially now as it relates to dealing with your response efforts. We are available as time permits to answer any questions that you may have. And beyond this presentation, if you do have questions, we remain available. You can always email us at the address listed on the screen here, or you can give us a call at 856-690-9590. So if there are any questions, I don't know if you can unmute or you can put them in the question and answer section. We can certainly spend some time to respond to those for you.
Thank you, Carolyn. Are there any freeholder questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Bertino.
one, and Carolyn, I believe you answered it. We can on a couple of these couple of these opportunities for agricultural farm loans through the SBA program. If I have people that have interest in them, they can contact you directly at the phone number, or is it something they could do on your website to get the preliminary information on the program?
You can have them give us a call directly. So it is the quickest way to get an answer for their question.
Yep, that's what I figured. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Any other freeholder questions? Okay. Is there anyone in the public that would like to make any questions?
I don't see any questions, Chairman.
Okay. With that, we'd like to thank you. And we'll make the information available if we're asked. Any final freeholder questions or comments? All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so we now will hopefully, Patty Diamond is back with us, I hope.
It appears she is.
Okay. So I'll leave it up to her to make the, continue the update.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for your patience. I have a co-pilot up here with me. We as I began, we have seen now close to 200 cases.
Somebody needs to unmute. Somebody needs the mute up. I don't know who it is.
Okay.
Patty, yes.
All right. So close to 1,200 cases of COVID-19 since the first one in March, which wasn't unexpected as we looked at other counties and other states throughout the country, and actually the global spread of this disease. We have experienced 51 deaths in the county, and they are similar to what other communities are experiencing. Each death has been associated with an underlying condition, either a chronic condition or an elderly individual. The reason also why we're seeing an increased number of cases because people now have more access to testing. Prior to a few weeks ago, very few healthcare providers had access to the test kits, which then was prohibitive for people to find out whether or not that they were positive. Now we've seen that loosen up a little bit. We have had our drive-through clinic since April 9th, and we continue to see the clinics fully booked and continue to see a lot of interest in that. Atlantic City has also opened up their walk-through and drive-through clinics as well. Atlantic Cares now has the ability to test, and we have just received word from Southern Jersey Medical Center that they are going to be testing at their federally qualified health center. And also Atlantic Care is also testing at their federally qualified health center in Atlantic City as well. And that's kind of an important point to remember, is that access to testing was really, again, prohibitive, and now it's loosening up. And with that, we are encouraging testing for those individuals that are symptomatic so that they can determine whether or not they're positive. And just to give us some statistics as of today, we have tested 904 individuals, and test results have come back on 766. 202 are positive, 566 are negative, and that gives us a 26.4% positivity rate, which means of those tested, 26.4% are found to be positive. Now, statewide, they're seeing a continuous drop, but it's at about 39.5% or 40%. So that's where we are compared to the state. Now, that's the entire test that the state was taking. So ours is really a relatively small sample size, but I think that gives you some good information. And basically, when you are looking at a case, what happens is that you have to look at this COVID-19, how it's tackled as a box. You know, you test, and you determine if it's positive. So then you do your contact tracing, and based on that, you isolate or quarantine. So you test, you contact trace, you isolate or you quarantine. So we are working with many partners to conduct the contact tracing, and that's an interview. And then based on that case patient's information, we determine who they may have exposed. And based on that exposure, we determine if quarantine is necessary. And we follow up on those individuals. We have had assistance from Medical Reserve Corps volunteers. We've had assistance from the sheriff's officers to assist with that, and from divisions within the Division of Public Health that are now being redirected to help with that. We also continue to provide information as we get it from the State Department of Health and hub it out to our healthcare providers as far as how they handle a patient, how they need to interpret test results. What's coming up frequently, and you probably have heard about it, is serology tests. What do you do with those tests? How effective are they in applying that information to a patient? We're also receiving information on what to do if a person is recovered, because with those 1,200 cases that we have had, we have, since the end of the day, have 272 individuals recovered. So that means that they are actually well. They're well. They can go out into the community. And for those individuals that may be interested, there are testing that's going on regarding the convalescent plasma, the donation of that serum, and that in the event someone is interested, we connect them with the healthcare providers, and we've connected healthcare providers with the process of how they enroll in that program if they come across a patient that may benefit with that. We continue to see updates from the Centers of Disease Control passed down to the State Department of Health. For instance, formerly it was if you were positive for COVID-19 and you were symptomatic, and that would be feverish, dry cough, and shortness of breath, that now those symptoms have been expanded. It's really passed further out: sore throat, headache, not just fever, perhaps you're feverish. So those are just some examples of changes. Also, a new change that just occurred today: instead of releasing a person from isolation after 7 days of 3 of those days being fever-free and symptoms improving and really, quite well, and it had been 7 days since the beginning of the symptoms that had started, now it's 10 days. So no one can really be released from isolation unless they are 10 days from the time symptoms occurred to the point where they can be considered released from isolation. So that just gives couple of the challenges that we face on an ongoing basis at a local health department. They get the information from Centers of Disease Control, that's the state. The state hubs it out to us, and we hub it out to our healthcare providers, and also incorporate it into any education that we provide to our community members and to our individuals that are doing contact tracing, that are having a personal conversation with those individuals that may have a positive result, or maybe a contact of that individual. Looking forward into the future, we are working with our Southern Jersey Family Medical Center regarding the migrant farmers, as far as educating those individuals as far as how to take certain precautions to prevent transmission. So that is pretty much in a nutshell as far as the cases, the testing, the contact tracing, the continuing hub out of education and information, and looking forward to the immediate future as far as some of our projects that we're working on.
Thank you, Patty. Anyone on the Freeholder board have any questions or concerns?
I have a question.
I have a question too. Go ahead.
Freeholder Fitzpatrick.
Thank you.
Ms. Diamond, you said something about convalescent plasma. Is that antibody testing? I'm sorry, can you speak up? Sure. You said something about convalescent plasma. Is that antibody testing? No, it's not. It's actually plasma from individuals who tested positive for COVID-19, but are recovered. And those individuals may be donors that could be evaluated to determine if their plasma would be considered for a possible treatment for someone that is seriously ill. So that's being begun. That has actually been in place for a couple of months now. But what we're trying to do is get the word out to healthcare providers if they're coming across a patient that may benefit with that treatment, and also to get the word out that they can let their patients know that have recovered that perhaps they would consider donating their plasma. So that's not antibodies. Are we doing antibody testing in Atlantic County? No, we don't do antibody testing. There's a lot of new information about antibody testing via the State Department of Health. We are just looking at the diagnostic testing, and that's the PCR testing that we're doing in the drive-through sites, and what Atlantic Care is doing and what Atlantic City is doing. That is actually a diagnostic test. As far as that antibody serology testing, that is something that they are not sure as far as how to interpret that as it relates to diagnosing someone that may have the disease or determining whether someone has recovered. Okay, thank you very much. And just getting back to your plasma, that actually is, we are looking at that as far as antibodies that person may have developed and trying it on someone that is very ill to determine whether or not that assists. So that is actually happening. But as far as the specific testing of it, that's not really well proven to be an effective diagnostic tool. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other freeholders wish to question?
Yeah.
Freeholder Bertino, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Pat, quick question for you. You touched on it a little bit with the seasonal agricultural workers. I know we're coming into a season here in New Jersey, and we're going to be talking about the housing issues and some of the direction the farmers are requesting is they're asking if we've got any protocols yet out of the State Department of Health relating to how they handle the individual issues for housing and implementation if there are any coronavirus issues. I know some of the other states down south have had some and have created some protocols. I don't think New Jersey, of course, the issue is just starting to move up the coast, has it ready yet. Have you heard anything on your end? I know you guys have reached out to the state, and I know Vince has requesting some of the protocols be put in place for these guys.
Right. I mean, there is some information available for growers, okay, that's not specific, to New Jersey, but it has been applied to other states as far as looking at a housing unit and how the distance between cots or however it's set up, as far as hand washing stations to be at various locations and to make sure that workers have access to them, the importance of social distancing. So that information is out there, but not specific to New Jersey, but it is what is being utilized by other states.
I think you're talking about the North Carolina one, because that's the last one I was able to receive that had any type of issues, any type of these concerns that they had regarding housing and then whatnot. So is that the one you're alluding to?
I believe it is. But we had looked at the H1N1, the outreach and education that we did about 10 years ago, and with our farms, we know where the farmers are because we do test their wells, and right now we have 82 of them. So we're getting a handle on how many workers in total there are, and we're also working with Salem County because their farmers are there now, and ours, we're told, won't arrive for a few weeks. So we're building packets to distribute to the farms with information and education as far as any support that they need, and we may be including a couple of things like a bandana or some hand sanitizer, but we're reviewing that right now.
Yeah, that would be a good thing because if you're not aware, they are planning on their personnel concerns and how many people they are going to need. And of course, the protocols in place that they need to follow to make sure that they're here safely for everyone concerned. So it's a big on that. It is moving rather quickly in the planning stage already. They're talking to some of the crews from down south. I just want to bring that to your attention. I know you're aware of it. And I know you guys at Vince Jones, I spoke with him earlier. I know you brought that up to the state of New Jersey to try to get some protocol and action out of them to give you some guidelines other than the normal ones, which is social distancing and mask and everything else.
Right. There's Southern Jersey Family Medical Center, who provides their care. They are actually going to be doing on-site testing in the event that it's needed if someone presents that it's symptomatic. So they're gearing up the capability of doing that. In fact, they reached out to us to view our site, and also to Atlantic City to view their site to moving forward. So that's what their plan is.
Yeah, I recommended them to a few of the farmers that have asked me already to contact them, especially if they're on the Western Atlantic County side, since they're located out here. It'll help them tremendously as a resource. They just wanted to see if anything else had came out of the state at this point.
Okay.
Just one thing, on that particular issue, the county executive has asked 3 times. He was told this weekend that they were going to issue the guidance this week from the State Department of Health. So I know Patty will probably get them first, but he's asked, like I said, 3 times, and hopefully they'll give them to us before the end of the week.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Any other questions?
Chairman,
Freeholder Corsi.
just piggyback off Pat. First of all, again, we want to thank her from Atlantic City for all the assistance that the county has certainly given to Atlantic City at this time. I was talking to Chief Evans, who is also our emergency management officer at the time. We were scheduled today to have 48 people strike that 61 people to take the test today. 36 showed up today. Overall, we had probably 48 people who tested. Only 16 came back positive as of now. It's a work in progress. As you know, Atlantic City is doing it 4 days a week. And it's interesting that other folks who want to go online to do testing, and you hear up and down the state of New Jersey that they need more testing sites. The sites are out there, and folks need to certainly take advantage of it while it is there. But I just wanted to report today we had 36. We were scheduled for 61 for whatever reasons. Half of them didn't, lower under 30. I did not show up. But tomorrow we're at Surf Stadium, and we'll continue to monitor it, and we'll see what happens. Go from here. But again, I can't thank Pat and her health department enough on behalf of Atlantic City, what they have done to assist us going forward. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Anyone else wish to talk to
Chairman?
Pat? Yes, Freeholder Gatto.
Thank you. Pat, I'd echo those sentiments of Freeholder Corsi. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you so much. Just a couple of questions. You mentioned recovered, meaning that somebody is well. Do we have a formal definition of recovered? Are they getting retested and coming up as negative, or is it just that they are now asymptomatic for the 10-day period, which was 7 days prior?
Okay. The numbers that we get that are positive, we reach out to them, and we talk to them as far as isolation, but we also talk to them the importance of monitoring their symptoms. And with public health, with the non-testing strategy, okay, we advise them to take their temperatures twice a day. And in the event that their symptoms improve significantly, and it has been now 10 days since they have begun symptoms, that they are considered to be okay and have recovered. However, we do ask them, what are your temperatures? We do ask them to take it twice a day, in the morning and the evening, and we ask them to report it. So when the nurse calls back, they want to know that information. And this disease, we're seeing low temperatures, not high. So now it's 99.6. Now 98.6 is usually considered normal. So if you can see just that 1 degree, they're looking at as suspect, and it doesn't even really need to be fever that would be registered on a thermometer. It could also be like in the form of chills. If a person doesn't have a thermometer, okay, we drop one off. That's how important it is. So that's our rule of thumb. We do want that information. And these individuals, sometimes they don't like to continue to hear from us, but we continue to call them. And if they don't have the information that we need, we call them back. So that's how important it is. But it's a public health removal from isolation. It's not a testing removal. It's not a clinical removal. We follow CDC guidelines that's passed on down from the State Department of Health.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you.
I'm sorry. What was the temperature now? What were
It's
you?
It's 99.6. And actually at the FEMA drive-through sites, that's a symptom checking drive-through sites. Used to be 100.4. Now it's 99.6. And that just gives you another example of how the more that we learn about this disease, the more things change.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just one other question, Pat. If somebody tested positive and they decide they want to go get another test somewhere for whatever reason, and that test comes back positive again for that person, do we count that person twice or once in terms of positive cases?
We actually, depending on when they did that test, I mean, that was actually just a discussion today. So someone recovers and they say, oh, I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to get another test. And it has been like, say, 10 days, whatever. And they get another test and it's positive. That period of time begins again. Okay. So that's considered not another case because it's the same individual, but we're not really sure whether that person may have been reinfected, or it may just be some particulate of the virus, because they are finding that although the virus may shed, it's not infectious. However, if that person was previously positive and they test positive again, they have to go through that 10-day period.
Okay, great to know. Thank you so much. Those were some questions I had gotten from some of our constituents. I appreciate it.
Okay. Anyone else on the Freeholder board wish to ask questions? Pat, what is the? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just had one quick question. I don't want to belabor the point, but Pat, if someone tests positive who's asymptomatic, I mean, how is that monitored? Where are they reflected in those positive test results, but the recovered individuals?
It is considered a case, but many people that are asymptomatic go on to develop symptoms. So we follow up to find out how they are. And we constantly tell them, okay, you're asymptomatic, you're test positive, you need to be isolated. Because if they're not isolated, they come down with symptoms. It doesn't help them, nor does it help the people that may come across. So we do follow them up, regardless if they're symptomatic or not.
Okay. Pat, has there been any consideration for thermal imaging? Are we thinking about using them?
As far as the patients, you mean as far as
in our applications, in our facilities, or even as a recommendation for, maybe next year, since fever seems to be the threshold symptom of diagnosis. I know it's becoming quite popular to take these thermal imaging units and, which I believe it's a 3-second scan, and they're very, very accurate. Any discussion on that?
Well, we really look at the Centers of Disease Control guidance, okay? But the important thing that we continue to emphasize is a person to know their own person. Do you feel ill? Okay, if you are ill, stay home. Okay, maybe something and it's not a fever. Maybe you're having chills. Maybe you just don't feel yourself. It's really to think about it, and then just really to stay home. There hasn't been any information from CDC so far to indicate that as a guidance in general. Okay, it's stay home if you're sick, wash your hands, practice social distancing. That's so important, and also frequently wash, frequently touch surfaces like your counters, your doorways, those fundamental things. However, another example of CDC guidance changing because they find out more information. They just don't make arbitrary decisions. There's a lot of studies that are going on. Some are credible and some are not. They evaluate that. One of the examples is the face covering. As far as if you're going out in public, if you're going to a pharmacy or a grocery store, is to wear that, because those areas, social distancing is more difficult to maintain. So,
Okay, and is there any update on the quick response tests?
well, they are now at point of care tests. They are out there. We do see them. The challenge with the point of care tests is that they're not as readily available, and it's it's at only certain venues that you can have it, like a doctor's office or an urgent care. With all this testing coming in, what is challenging is that we respond, or the state responds to their reporting of the number of cases, because they're entered into our electronic surveillance system, so that we count them, we react to them. One of the difficulties is, and the labs have been warned, that they need to enter them into that system so that they can be followed up. Now, if we get a positive test and it's not in the system yet, we act on that. So that is one of the challenges, the rapid test, okay, but then you rapidly need to get it into that electronic system.
Thank you, Pat. Any other questions? Anyone in the public wish to make any questions?
No, Chairman.
Okay,
Excuse me,
yes.
we do have a question.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Creed Pogue, has testing been done on all of the residents and staff of long-term care facilities in the county, either by county or state?
Last week, the State Department of Health contacted southern region counties: Burlington, Atlantic, Cumberland, Cape May, Gloucester, Salem, and they rolled out what's called a pilot test project, where they selected certain nursing homes, not all, to be part of the pilot test project. And that project is that they tested all staff and all residents. So it's not all facilities that have been tested, and it's not the county doing the testing. It's the State Department of Health project, and they're working with Cooper Hospital. And they're making a determination as far as the number of individuals that are symptomatic and the ones that are not showing symptoms, but however, they're testing positive. And it's a way of making sure that the ones that are asymptomatic are not in close contact with ones that are negative. Because again, they're looking at how this virus is transmitted. So Atlantic County is a part of a pilot project, the same with other contiguous counties. But again, not all have been tested, but some of the nursing homes are actually testing on their own to determine their disease burden in their long-term care.
Thank you, Pat. Any other questions? Okay, thank you for coming and giving us that update. We'll now move on to ordinances. Ordinance number 3.
Thank you. Everybody stay healthy.
You're muted, Sonia. You're muted.
Thank you. An ordinance to vacate a 4,559 plus minus square foot portion of the right-of-way of Buck Hill Road, County Route 645, adjacent to Block 201, Lot 1 in Corbin City, Atlantic County, first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. An ordinance in its first reading will welcome public comment 2 weeks from now in the second reading. Any freeholder comments on the first reading? Seeing none, call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. I will take a motion to move resolution 224 to the top of the agenda here so it can be addressed.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, resolution 224.
Resolution recognizing May 2020 as Mental Health Awareness Month, sponsor Maureen Kern.
We need to move it again. Okay,
You moved
motion.
it. Okay, thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Okay, Freeholder Kern, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. I just thought, especially now, and it is Mental Health Awareness Month, but really want to take the opportunity to thank all of our mental health associates throughout the county. I know they're all working many long hours, to care for individuals in need, especially in these times. It's very difficult for them, individuals that need our services to get out there. But there, as we mentioned last week, or I brought, there are many virtual services made available, and it's at mhaac.info. And I really thank them for all their continued dedication to these individuals. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Freeholder. Anyone else wish to comment? Any Freeholders wish to comment? Freeholder Corsi?
Just a note, I'm gonna vote for it, but I was trying to figure out what was the rush to bring that to the top of the agenda. But I'm gonna vote anyway, but I just had to make that comment.
I believe there were two individuals that were watching our meeting that are looking at our resolution, and I brought it to the top of the agenda so that those individuals in the audience could hear it. At this
So
time.
noted.
All right. No further discussion. We'll call the roll.
Well, we do have public comments, Chairman. That's all right. Atlantic County and its residents face the once-in-a-lifetime challenge of the coronavirus. It is a threat to both our physical and mental health. The fear, anxiety, and stress it has caused to the mental health of our families and friends is significant. It is appropriate that our county take this opportunity to recognize the month of May as Mental Health Awareness Month, as has the state of New Jersey. It is with great appreciation that the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, of Atlantic Cape May thanks Chairperson Frank Formica and Vice Chairperson Maureen Kern for recognizing and establishing May 2020 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Atlantic County. NAMI provides free programs of support, education, and advocacy for families and those affected by mental illness for all residents of Atlantic and Cape May who seek such assistance. Abby Katz, VP of NAMI Atlantic Cape May, and Mark L. Hurwitz, NAMI Mental Health Advocacy Coordinator, and they both have joined the meeting tonight.
Thank you. All right. Any other public comment? All right. Well, it certainly is worthwhile noting, and there are many people trying to do a job in these difficult times. And I'm sure that noting this is most appropriate. I will call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino, Percy,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley, Freeholder Risley, and Formica.
Yes. All right. Moving on to grants, 190.
Amending sections in the fiscal year 2019 Atlantic County Consortium and now annual action plan, and adding a new section and amending an existing section in the Atlantic County Citizen Participation Plan for the Community Development Block Grant Program, no additional costs.
Motion.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder comments? Anyone in the public?
No public comments.
Call the roll, please.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Horsey,
Yes.
Hayes, Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley, and Formica.
Yes. 204, please.
Amending Resolution Number 128 adopted March 17th, 2020, grant application to New Jersey Transit and the United States Department of Transportation for Section 5311 funding pursuant to the Federal Transit Act, net increase $36,519, county cash match $12,173.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder comment on this amended resolution for grant?
Chairman,
Freeholder Corsi?
question for you, regarding New Jersey Transit. Since everything has been closed down, this is a rhetorical question, Chairman. Why is the train still running in and out of Atlantic City?
Well, rhetorical questions seem to be emanate from the New Jersey Transit. Why were 45 engineers working full-time when the trains were down? I don't have an answer, but
4 o'clock every morning, I hear the trains, and I'm trying to figure out who is coming or leaving the train every single day.
I think we can ask a question, I guess, but, you know, I guess they're making sure that the tracks are going to be ready to go. I don't know.
They're also making sure that the healthcare workers and frontline workers have transportation.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you, Amy.
All right. All right. Any other comments? Any public input?
No public input.
Call the roll, please.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley, and Formica.
Yes, 205.
Grant application and acceptance from the United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, Bureau of Justice Assistance to be used to combat the COVID-19 pandemic in Atlantic County, $58,008.
Motion.
Moved in second. Any comments on this grant application? Any public input, please?
No, there's no public input.
Call the roll, please.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley, and Formica.
Yes, 206.
Grant application to the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety for a drug recognition expert grant, amount not to exceed $118,000.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments from the Freeholder Board on this grant application? Any public input?
No public input.
Call the roll, please.
Bennett, Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley, and Formica.
Is Risley with us?
Yes.
I don't think so.
I'm sorry?
I don't believe so. Pardon me?
I think we lost them.
Who did we lose?
Risley.
John Risley.
Okay, all right. Moving on to 207.
Grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey Division of Highway Safety for Highway Safety Program in the amount of $59,800.
Moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder input except Risley? Any public input?
Oh, Lord.
Call the roll, please.
Wait 1 moment. Let me just make sure I don't have any public input. No. No public input.
Call the roll, please.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Missing Risley, yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley, Formica.
Okay, 208.
Grant application to the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety for Atlantic County Cares for Kids Diversity Program, amount not to exceed $25,450.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder input? Any public input?
No public input.
Call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes. Risley,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
I got John right here.
we're missing you.
Say yes, John.
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley's a yes, and Formica.
Yes. Okay. We got through that. 209.
Grant application and acceptance of funding from the United States Department of Health and Human Services Medicare Advance Payment Grant to be used to cover costs related to COVID-19 at Meadowview Nursing and Rehabilitation Center in the amount of $174,302.94.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder input? Any public comment?
Chairman?
Elder Corsi?
The question goes to Jerry. I noticed that this is coming from the U.S. Department of Health. Would this be an additional monies to the 700,000 plus that we already received from the federal government regarding COVID-19?
Yes, this money goes directly to the nursing homes, though. The 704,000 can be used in a variety of different ways from CDBG. This is specific to the nursing home.
There are two different sources. The 700 is from HUD, CBDG,
Yeah.
and this is the Department of Health.
Right.
Any other freeholder comment? All right, public input.
No public input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
Formica.
Yes. All right, moving. We have chapter 159s. I'll take a motion to combine and adopt, please. 210 and 211.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving on to 212.
Bid contracts with Allen Corman and Son Incorporated to provide helicopter rental for mosquito surveillance for the Department of Public Works, Office of Mosquito Control, amount not to exceed $136,500.
Moved.
Motion. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder comments here?
We didn't get to ask it in the budget meeting, but will this now kill the killer hornets and stuff that are now coming at us? It's a joke, Chairman.
Well,
Yeah, it's,
I don't know what.
no, we might not have enough money here. I know that. Any other freeholder comments? Public input?
No public input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Formica.
Yes. Moving on to our change orders, 213.
Change order number 2, contract with North American Pipeline Services, Limited Liability Corporation for drainage rehabilitation of Fire Road and Old Egg Harbor Road in Egg Harbor Township to provide supplemental work, net increase $35,790.
Call has been forwarded to it.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Public input?
This is a change order, Chairman.
I'm sorry. Any freeholder comments?
This is a change order, Chairman. And is that work through you to Jerry almost completed? Or do we have any idea if this is going to be the last change order? I know there's been some work going on out there for a period of time now, but this is according to this, the second change order. Do we know if they're almost near completion?
Mark is on, our county engineer is on.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So the question, Freeholder Coursey, is whether or not we're completed out there on that project. And the answer is no. We are working with the contractor to get final restoration on the surface of the road, which was caused during the grouting process. But we believe that our negotiation will be for no cost for that work.
Not the Mark, all due respect, that was not the question. The question is, do you know if there's additional work that will cause let me freeze that. Do you know, will this be the last change order? I don't want to mix your words, because I think I understand what you're saying. Going forward, do we foresee any more change orders?
The answer to that would be no. I don't foresee any more change orders on this project.
Thank you.
Thank you, freeholder. Any other freeholder comments? Public input to this change order?
No.
Again, we've now once again lost contact with John, so we'll call the roll.
Bennett?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Mark said no more, so I'm going to vote yes.
Days?
Write down, Madam Clerk.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Risley? Formica?
Yes. Moving on to the miscellaneous, 214.
Extraordinary unspecifiable services contract with Insurance Agencies Incorporated to obtain flood insurance for the Atlantic County Animal Shelter. Amount not to exceed $1,651.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any freeholder comment? Any public input?
No public input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Risley? And Formica.
Yes. 215.
Emergency contract with Nelbud for purchasing emergency cleaning services at the Atlantic County Justice Facility Jail. Amount not to exceed $63,840.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any public question to this contract? Any?
No.
Okay. Any freeholder questions?
Chairman.
Yes.
Just want to highlight, we discussed it in the budget committee. Just want to highlight that this is kind of a unintended consequence of some of the COVID actions. But we need these services as a result of lack of inmate labor, because the type of inmates that would have typically done this work have been released due to COVID. So this is going to be an unexpected COVID expense. that we're going to have to, take on at this time. We don't know about any refunding of it, but it is something we're going to have to continue to monitor as well.
Thank you. As I remember, this Nelbin company basically maintains and cleans filters. That's what one of the things they do. So maybe it has something to do with that, but any other Freeholder comment? Public input?
As I understand it, it's cleaning services for the jail.
Okay. Thank you. Any public input?
No public input.
Please call the roll.
Bennett?
Yes.
Bertino? Bertino?
Yes.
Come on, Jim, wake up.
We're back.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Risley? And Formica.
Yes, 216.
Emergency contract with various vendors for purchasing personal protection equipment and sanitizer for Atlantic County. Amount not to exceed $200,000.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder comment on the resolution, please. Public comment, please.
No public comment.
Call the roll, please.
Bennett?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Risley? And Formica.
Yes, 217.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
before you move, question, I'm sorry, I meant to ask Jerry before we moved off of resolution 216. Will that 200,000 be coming out of the 700,000 or that is additional monies? The 700 I'm referring to is the CDBG money for COVID-19. Will some of that money come out of that?
Yes, it will. Some of it will come out of there. Absolutely. Yes, correct.
Do you by chance know how much of that 200,000 will come out of that?
I'm not sure yet because we're still working through the 700,000 with John. We're waiting for all of the guidance for the 704,000.
Jerry, would it be fair to say, with that 700,000, at some point, I'm sure John and you and others are monitoring the amount of money we're using out of the 700,000. If in fact there's not enough money from there, is there another account you'll be taking money from if we need it?
Yes, there will be. Yeah. This, if you read the summary on there, you have the jail, sheriff, the nursing home. You know, the nursing home already is getting some materials. The state of New Jersey is supposed to give all the nursing homes in the state of New Jersey PPE. So, you know, what we're going to do is present the plan, and wherever we have the funding, we'll use that funding portion, and we'll just alter this plan if we have to.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Freeholder. Any other comments? Call the roll.
We did, Chairman, we already called that roll.
On 217, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, 216. Freeholder Corsi had asked a question after we
Yes,
called
so
the
I'm
roll.
just saying, now we're on to 217, right?
Yes. Annual Open Space Trust Fund Tax 2020, first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Sorry, I didn't hear the second.
Second from Amy.
Okay, thank you.
First reading, open space tax fund. We'll take public comment in the second reading. Any Freeholder comments? Call the roll, please.
Bennett? Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Risley? And Formica.
Yes, 218, please.
Renewal intergovernmental services agreement with the City of Pleasantville for the provision of security services at the Pleasantville branch of the Atlantic County Library System. Amount not to exceed $21,000.
Move.
Moved and seconded. Freeholder comments on this resolution?
Chairman, just a reminder to my other colleagues, this is just a partnership with the city of Pleasantville for half of the, Jerry, I stand to be correct, I believe it's part of security. It's a $42,000 contract. I think the county entered into an agreement to pay half.
That's correct. The library, correct.
Any other freeholder comments? Public input here?
Nope. Wait, hold. No, there's no public input.
Please call the roll.
Sure. Bennett,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Kern,
Yes.
Isley, and Formica.
Yes. Okay.
But before you move on to the appointments, may I direct a question through you to the county administrator regarding taxes?
Please. You want to do it now?
As you know, that the governor has done an executive order extending tax payments to June 1st. I noticed that Atlantic City will have a special meeting on Thursday to pass a resolution to extend the tax payments to June 1st with a 10-day deadline. Does the county in any form or way does that same thing, or they just follow what the municipalities do? What impact that had on the county?
Well, how about I ask Ms. Lindau to explain the statutory requirement we're under? Bonnie, you want to explain that requirement that we have to follow?
Sure. The statutory requirement is that the counties collect the taxes from the municipalities. The executive order actually allows, as you stated, the municipality to pass a resolution to allow an extended tax payment to their taxpayers. However, there is no statutory authorization to the county to collect those taxes from the municipality after the statutory date, which is May 15th.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, Bonnie, but are you indicating because there's statutory positions, municipalities still, in spite of the June 1st, still have to pay county taxes on time?
Taxes are due on the 15th, yeah. If any municipality feels that there's going to be some issues, a memo went out to the mayor from the executive, and also my staff sends a reminder to the municipalities about the taxes being due and when they are due. And that email states that if there are any concerns about that, that they should reach out to me directly. And so does Mr. Levinson's letter to the mayors.
So my final question, and I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. If a municipality does not have the dollars to pay the county, will there be a penalty on the municipality?
My direction is if I receive communication from a CFO or a municipality regarding the tax payment, that I'll take that information, ask for their plan, and then have a conversation with administration about whether the county can make a consideration to that municipality or not.
So if municipalities are unable to collect taxes and the county, well, there's a delay in collecting them. For example, let me use, for example, I'm not sure, maybe Formica knows more than me, where we stand with the casinos. As you know, they are in the process of passing some new bills in Trenton that will give the casinos some tax relief. Some bills came up, I believe, Chairman, yesterday or today, talks about tax relief for the casinos, but there's no relief that I know for the average mom and pops, homeowner store, business, etc. But the casinos are getting breaks from the state of New Jersey. if in fact they do not pay the city by June 1st, strike that. If we don't get their taxes and Atlantic City don't have the money to pay the county at this point, Atlantic City, if I'm hearing you correctly, could be penalized if they have not notified you.
Freeholder, if you're asking me, the statute does state that the county shall assess a 6% interest on the unpaid portion of the taxes after the due date. So again, I urge that any CFO from a municipality or any contact reach out to me to discuss any concerns that you might have prior to the due date of May 15th. And we'll be happy to speak with you.
And Chairman, just to piggyback on some of Freeholder Corsi's questions, if I may, to Bonnie. So even if we wanted to pass a resolution as a freeholder board saying that we wanted to, not accept the payment until June 1st, it really wouldn't have any standing because it's a state statute that's driving the May 15th date.
That's what I believe is the fact.
Thank you.
But I think if I hear Bonnie saying that before the due date, any municipality that comes forward to the county and has a plan, there can be some discretion. Is that correct, Bonnie, on the fines?
Yes, I directly don't have that discretion, but I will certainly discuss it with administration. And we want to hear from municipalities that feel like they are going to have an issue with making that payment as of the 15th. To date, I have heard from 2 municipalities and urge them again, probably a week before the due date, if they still feel that they're having issues with collections, that they should reach out to me again.
Mr. Chairman, my final question to Bonnie, and I'm not trying to put Bonnie on the spot. I'm a little confused because I know you indicated it's state statute, and I get all of that. However, there's an executive order from the chief executive of the state of New Jersey. And so if it applied to municipalities, I'm a little taken back that it would not apply to.
Well,
first of all, whoa. Ferguson, I know you're not going to cut me off.
no, I'll answer your question.
Okay. I know you're ready to answer. I just didn't want you to cut me off because my memory is not that good.
Okay, I understand.
So my point was, statutorily, I get that. But the governor, there's a whole lot of things happening around the state, but because of the crisis that everybody's in, folks are out of work, etc. Funds are short. And that's probably why a lot of them have gotten the delay in paying their taxes. Now, I know, Ferguson, you're ready to take me on as if you're in trial or not, but I reserve my balance of time.
Well, first of all, the governor's executive order, so we're clear on this, doesn't mandate that municipalities extend the time for payment. It's a permissive thing. They can do so if they want to. The governor's executive order specifically does not touch the issue of the payments that are then due to the counties and the school districts from the respective municipalities. And to answer Freeholder Gatto's question, you would have no authority as a freeholder board to pass any such resolution because you have no statutory authority to do so. That's the short answer to it. The monies are due on May 15th. That's obligatory under the statute. And let's hope we don't get to the point where the casinos don't pay or anything like that, because we would probably find ourselves in court over that issue. But the payments are due on May 15th.
Mr. Ferguson, if I may, all due respect, and I certainly respect your legal interpretation, for the most part, you normally are right on target. But are you indicating if this board chose to, not that they will, but if this board had chose to just pass a resolution, you're saying we have no authorization to pass a resolution, or are you saying that the resolution is really moot?
The resolution, in my opinion, would be null and void.
because
Okay, I
of
just wanted to be clear.
statutory authority to do so.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear that we have the authority to pass any resolution we choose to, whether it become law or binding. It's another interpretation. Sometimes it's the spirit of the resolution rather than, the pontificating of the resolution. I was just asking that question. I know you're getting all riled up for a trial.
Freeholder, I would never accuse you of pontificating. So, just so we're.
All right. Thank you, Freeholder. All right. We are about to combine and adopt appointments here. 219 to 223. I'll take the motion.
Chairman,
Freeholder got
respectfully, can you please not lump in 223?
by all means. I'll take a motion to combine and adopt 219 to 222, please.
Motion.
Second.
All those, okay, okay. Any discussion on any of the appointees? Anything in the public on the appointees? 219 to 222.
There's no questions from the public on 219 to 222, but we do have a question regarding 217 once you complete the appointments.
Okay, I will call the roll, please.
Bennett?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Risley? And Formica.
Yes, we'll complete our agenda here. 223.
Reappointment of John McLernan, Jill Huck, Dan Brown, Gary L. Dinneman, Christy Baker Gardner, Mike Kelly, Vincent R. Kirkland, Amanda Lease, Lennon Moore, Kurt Olson, Jerome M. Page, Eric Scheffler, Christine Totaro, and Walt Vernon to the Atlantic County Criminal Justice Advisory Board.
Move.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Okay, any Freeholder comment to these appointments? All right. Any public input on the appointments in 223, please?
Chairman, I was just wondering why my colleague wanted that one pulled. Was it something we need to know?
You'll find that when I vote.
Gotcha.
All right.
So noted.
All right. We'll call the roll.
Bennett?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
I have to abstain because Walt Vernon is my stepfather. So as much as I would love to vote yes to all of these appointees and support them, I have to abstain. So thank you.
Kern?
Yes.
Risley and Formica.
Yes, that brings us to the end of our printed agenda. Are there any reports of special committees that members of the board would like to discuss at this point? Seeing none. Okay. Is there any unfinished business? Hearing none. Any new business? Hearing none.
Chairman.
Freeholder Gatto.
Thank you. It's not necessarily new business, just a request to county administration that any correspondence that goes out to the mayors, if it would be possible that the freeholders could be copied, because oftentimes the mayors are getting some kind of communication from county administration and then coming to us to ask about it, and sometimes I'm not even aware of something that's gone out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else in new business? Seeing none. We've all received correspondence electronically and hard copy. Anyone wishing to discuss correspondence? Welcome back, John. Yes, Freeholder Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Chairman. We received an email earlier this week from the grandson of a resident of Meadowview Nursing Home. And he would like to request that there be regular communication from the residents to the families, because there's no visiting and he's unable to hear from his grandmother. He feels that the staff is short and there's not enough staff to help communicate with the families. So is there something that can be done about that?
Yeah, Sonia, I think you got to mute. I think you should mute. I'm sorry. Okay.
Want me to do it again?
No, I got it. I think the answer to the question is, I have a mother in there, and upon request, they will FaceTime with her grandson or his grandson. If you want to give the information, later or whatever like that, or email it, I can find out who he should call to, get somebody to put up a FaceTime for him. But they actually have a cart. They go around with a tablet, and they will FaceTime.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Any other written communications? Seeing none? We'll go to public comments. Anyone in the public wish to speak?
Chairman, I will ask the question that is relative to Resolution 217 from Creed Pogue, and it's how much will 1/8 cent raise?
Well, I think the answer to that is if we're at 30 billion, a penny,
$400,000.
1% is 3 million, right? Right, George?
It's $400,000 roughly.
200,000.
Yeah, it's
Sonia, you got to mute, Sonia.
It's, what, okay.
And so anyway, the answer is there any other follow-up to the amount that Jerry just gave?
that's the number. You were thinking it's $32 billion.
32 billion, right?
So it's 1 penny, 3.2 million, and so 1/8 of 3.2 million is roughly $400,000, right? So
that's what I'm thinking of, 400. And we do that just to carry debt service. Am I correct?
that's correct. But I think, Bonnie, you want to explain what you did with the 400?
The money that is collected through the open space tax resolution is roughly what Jerry had said. And we pay the Green Acres debt service out of that money, and then the balance goes to the appropriation.
Thank you, Bonnie.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from in the public here? Any other public comments?
It does not appear so.
Anything really good to the order? I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Dave.
I had something I wanted to share, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Well, the other day was, first of all, it was Firefighter Appreciation Day. So I do want to thank the men and women who will drop anything at a moment's notice to protect not only our property, but our lives as well. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. And yesterday, Governor Murphy closed all public schools, or all schools, in the state of New Jersey for the remainder of the academic year. But I just want to emphasize that the school buildings are closed, but learning is going to continue. This week is also Teacher Appreciation Week. And, I want everyone to know that the teachers are going to continue to provide online lessons for the students. And, the concern is that because the governor's announcement, and, I think it was probably a good announcement at the time, is that more and more students are going to continue to drop out. So the teachers, the parents, the community, the guardians, grandparents need to make sure that the students continue to log into the lessons, if for no other reason than to touch base with their classmates. I think it's fitting that Freeholder Kern mentioned that it's Mental Health Awareness Month. We've seen unfortunately a sharp decline in the mental health of a lot of our students, and I just want to make sure that we're all there as a community, again, as grandparents, guardians, parents, and making sure that they continue with their online lessons through June. Again, just so they can fulfill the potential and go into the summer and make it as normal as possible.
Thank you, Freeholder. Well said. Anything else for the good of the order? We'll take a motion to adjourn.
Moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.